Well, welcome everybody. It's great to have you on the call today. The real point of this conversation today is to help you understand this year's version of the Connecticut Entrepreneur Awards. And so we've officially launched. We've opened the website for nominations, and you'll see the web URL at not just at the bottom of this screen, but every screen. So it's ctentrepreneurs.com, and we've added a nomination category or an award category, and we're going to hop into kind of all the information about the awards this year. So first we'll hit the purpose. What are the award categories? What's the nomination process? We're adding a major nominator recognition this year, so we'll talk just for a moment about that. We'll talk about sort of key dates, key deadlines, and so on, and then can answer any of your questions as well. So the Connecticut Entrepreneur Awards, very simply, are to identify, recognize, and celebrate Connecticut's leading entrepreneurs, ventures, and ecosystem elements that support them. So that is to say, we want to really recognize the entrepreneurs and the ventures and all of the other stakeholders within the ecosystem that are doing good work to support the entrepreneurs. Ultimately, the entrepreneurs being at the center of this program and who we want to shine the brightest light on, but we really want to beat the drum and shine very bright lights on all the great activity and actors that are going on in the state right now. So you should know, if you don't already, this is our third annual version of this program. We've done it this will be the third year, and we've seen great activity. And one of the things that has been really cool about the awards, we track both the nominations and the finalists. We're seeing participation from every county in the state and from, I think, somewhere around 60 cities and towns. So obviously we want to keep ratcheting that up and continuing to be more inclusive, more engaging from all through the state. So our award categories this year will look similar to last year, and I'll highlight the things that have been added. So if you remember from last year and the last 2 years, we've had judged awards and then community favorite awards. So this slide that's up now is this year's judged award categories. So last year we had 4 Entrepreneur of the Year awards. This year we're adding a 5th. We had last year Scalable Venture, Main Street, Social Good, and Student. This year we're adding a 5th, which is Scaling Company. So Scaling Company would be entrepreneurs who are leading companies that are doing $1 million or more in annual revenue. But this way we're really hitting all of the different types of entrepreneurs that are in not just our ecosystem, but in ecosystems in general. And then the rest of the categories that are judged are the exact same as last year. So Venture of the Year, Revenue and Pre-Revenue, and then Community Builder of the Year. So all really strong, and these all have perpetual awards besides the sort of the standard recognition. They'll all have a perpetual award, much like the Stanley Cup. It'll get passed from generation to generation. So some really neat things, and we want to each year bring back the previous year's winners, hopefully to give that award to the next bearer of that award. So each of these has a winner and then 4 honorable mentions. So there's lots of good recognition that goes along. So the next sort of area of awards are the community favorite awards, and so this category or these categories of awards includes everything that is judged. So the Entrepreneur of the Year, the Venture of the Year, and each of those subcategories, plus the Community Builder of the Year. But it also includes spaces, programs, economic development, events, education, and then corporate and institutional. And so spaces, co-working spaces, programs, all the different types of accelerators and so on. Folks that are in economic development, they could be advocates, they could be actually economic development professionals, they could be legislators and so on. Obviously events, everything from pitch events to awards events and so on, and then education, certainly the universities, high schools, invention conventions and so on, and all the corporate and institutional actors that are out there, from the sponsors and supporters of programs to those that are engaged in terms of helping solve major problems or solving major opportunities that are in the marketplace. So these versus the judged, these will all be done by community voting. And so there'll be a whole separate set of awards for these. And we will have one winner and then 2 honorable mentions in each of these categories. But it's a real opportunity to activate each individual or organization's networks to really drive sort of community interest and also to tease out other people who might not show up in sort of a judged way, but can show up in a community favorite way. So the nomination process, and actually I'm going to go out to the website real quick just to share the nomination process. It's really, really straightforward and simple. So we're in the ConnecticutEntrepreneur.awards.com website, and this is just a landing page made real easy to be able to nominate and to navigate to the nominations. So I've clicked on the nominations, and it's really as simple as putting in your name and and your email address, and then going down to the category of award that you're looking to nominate on. And I'm just going to go to entrepreneur. We'll make it easy so you can see this screen. So on the left, you can click, and this would be past years' nominees are listed here. So if there's somebody who's been nominated in the past, you could easily click on them, or you could just go over to the right and enter their name in. And then we're going to want whoever you're nominating, their email address. If you do have their phone number, that's helpful as well. But the email address, we actually follow up with folks. There's actually additional questions we ask nominees, and that's what helps us build their profile. So we want to have that email address is important for making sure that they're represented completely when we open up the voting for the finalists, and whether that's for the judged award or for the community favorite. And then here at the bottom, just put in whatever statements would help support your nominee. So what is it that you know about them that makes them a good candidate for the particular award that you're nominating them for? And so and then from there, you just click submit my nomination, and that nomination will be submitted. So really straightforward, really easy. And one other thing to just share with you while we're here is if we click on, not going down this menu, but just click on awards, if you have questions about the criteria for the awards or the different categories or the actual awards themselves, it's all detailed here. So Entrepreneur of the Year Scaling Company, they'll actually tell you the judge criteria, a little bit more about the award itself. But you can scroll down and look at every award category and understand how the judging will happen and how many awards there are and all that kind of stuff. So may be helpful for you to know. Let's see, one more. Okay. So, one of the things that we really want to work on this year, and certainly would love as much sort of participation in this as is possible, is we have so many great organizations in Connecticut, be they co-working spaces, educational institutions, different accelerator type programs, various other programs that in some way support entrepreneurs. You're going to be the best nominators for entrepreneur, for venture, for your peers out in the community. Certainly we we certainly love to see self-nominations, but we absolutely want all of the major stakeholders and minor stakeholders in the community to nominate their people in their community, be they associations like the Connecticut Technology Council or various educational institutions. But there are so many great organizations that have members, have students, have cohort members who should be nominated for an award or multiple awards. So this year we're actually coming up with, we've created a new award called the Community Promoter, but that would be the organization that nominates the most candidates for entrepreneur and or venture or community builder of the year. And so it's a cumulative between those three of the most nominations. But ultimately we want to have as much recognition of the great entrepreneurial activity that's going on here in the state. And certainly the best advocates of the entrepreneurs are going to be all the great organizations that are part of helping that community mature. So besides the Community Promoter Award, there'll be the top candidates for Nominator will be listed on the website as well. And we're working on right now, depending on where the event is, we're actually working on exhibit space for some portion of the top nominator. So it might be the top 10 nominators get some exhibit space at the actual awards event. We're working on that detail now, but certainly number 1 and number 2 on this list absolutely will be done. We'll have a Community Promoter Award for the top nominator, plus some honorable mention awards. And then again, the top promoters, the top nominators will be listed on the website as well. So please take advantage of that. Help us really get as many nominations from entrepreneurs to ventures and community builders as we possibly can. So the sort of big dates that we want to know about, the nominations are open now until January 25th, and we kind of see two major pushes. You certainly can nominate any time in that period, but we're going to be pushing nominations really hard between now and sort of mid-December, and then we're going to pick it up and push again really, really hard in the first half of January, and certainly we'll supply out materials so that you can communicate the open nominations to your constituents, and really appreciate you doing that. And then the finalist voting, you'll remember we do this in two different sets. So we get in the nominations, and then we sort of validate that people are that they are valid nominations. And then we put out finalist voting, and that will be a 1-month period between February 8th and March 8th. And then we're still working on the awards party date and details. In fact, we have some meetings on this today, but that'll be sometime in April 2019, probably the second half, but we're, again, still working on those dates. But we've got some cool facilities that we're looking at, and I think we're going to have a real neat event. And we're aiming, the last couple of years, we've had a couple hundred attendees. This year, we're aiming sort of more in the 400 or 500 attendee range. So we're really looking to amp it up. And what really drives that is the number of nominations and the quality of the nominations. So again, we really want to activate this group to nominate early and often. So that was our agenda, kind of a quick high-level view of this all. We've got a great team that's working behind the scenes on all of these things, from the promotion of the nominations to the event itself, and the recognition that's happening, and sponsorships and so on. So you hear from me, but understand there's a great group really working on this, a bunch of really cool pirates as we think of ourselves. So What didn't I answer? I know some people kind of popped in as we were en route, and this is recorded, I should say, and we'll share the recording as well. But what questions does anyone have that they didn't hear an answer for? And if you want to, if you may be on mute, so feel free to unmute and ask away. Okay, well, I'm going to sense that means there are no questions. We did record this. We'll share the recording. If you came in late, I would say by tomorrow at some point, this will be shared, but feel free to reach out with any questions. Again, our real goal in doing this today was to roll it out so you knew kind of the various updates about the program. A neat new award category was added, and that is scaling venture. Those are companies with $1 million or more in revenue, entrepreneurs of companies doing $1 million or more in revenue. All the other award categories are the same. We've added a special recognition for the top nominator. So we want to really activate all of the educational institutions, all the accelerators, all the incubators, all the co-working spaces, all the programs. You know who you are, all the associations that face entrepreneurs, to nominate their members. And we're going to do a variety of very special things for the top nominators. So we really want to activate that, and anything you can do to help us in that regard would be great. So that's all we have for today. We really appreciate your attendance. Again, reach out if you have any questions, but we'll look forward to chatting with you all soon, and we want to see those nominations flying in. So please nominate again early and often. Talk to you all soon. Thank you so much. Bye for now.